Hi everyone, I'm delighted to welcome Didier Bove, Veolia Group CIO today. Bonjour Didier.
Bonjour Laetitia.
It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today. The merger between Veolia and Suez has just been confirmed. So I have a couple of questions for you. But first, would you introduce yourself and introduce Veolia?
Sure. So I'm Didier Bove. I'm the global CIO for Veolia since 2 years ago. And I've been working for Veolia for more than 8 years now. Veolia is a global leader in resource management. It's more than 180,000 people working with this aim in mind, resourcing the world. And we've got services for water production, water sanitation, energy services, and waste management. In 2020, the Veolia Group supplied more than 100 million people with drinking water, 62 million people with wastewater services, and we produced more than 43 million megawatt hours of energy and treated nearly 50 million metric tons of waste.
Wow, sounds big. And as far as I know, Suez is also producing, huge numbers in terms of water treatment. So how will you address the market together?
Yeah. The history of Suez and Veolia are very comparable. We were nearly funded at the same time. We are sharing a lot of things. And we've got something in common. We want to be the leader in the ecological transformation we are aiming for. The combination of Veolia and Suez will create a new leader in the world for addressing a huge market, because the both companies represent only 5% of the global market of waste management, water management, and energy management. And it's a very fragmented market, but the combination of the two companies will propose huge development capabilities in the coming years.
Okay, wow. And one more, personal question. As a global CIO, how will you handle the change management during the merge, and how do you think IT can support this cultural merge?
We've got one perspective. We want to be the benchmark company for the ecological transformation. And it's perfectly aligned with the Veolia purpose. You know, this purpose is to contribute to human progress. It is directly linked to the UN Nations Development Goals, the sustainable development that has been provided a few years ago. Veolia is completely aligned with this commitment, and we set ourselves our own task, resourcing the world, because we want this human progress to suit into a better and sustainable world. And by 2023, we've got an ambition through a plan. The name is Impact 2023. We want to have an impact on the environment, and it is based on 4 pillars. The first one is about what we call the multifaceted performance. That means a lot of things for us. The second one is about developing operations where we boast expertise, for example, for plastic recycling, for air pollution, as waste treatment. Number 3, we want to reinvent our core businesses by providing, for example, some digital solutions for our customers and our employees. And number 4, we want to imagine new solutions for new types of pollutants, for dealing with material scarcity, creating new loops of material.
You just talked about multifaceted performance. What does it mean exactly?
You know, Antoine Frérot is used to say that a business is successful because it is useful and not the other way around. And it's very interesting because that means a lot of things for us.
It means a lot. I love this one.
It means that we are not only focusing on financial results. We got to take into account all the stakeholders we've got to work with, we've got to deal with. In our example, we've got 5 stakeholders. Number 1, planet, the environment. That's our main activity and we want to really focus on that. Number 2, shareholders, because we've got to create some activities and to create some values for employment for the company. Number 3, the employees. Nothing is possible without our employees.
Sure.
The clients, we've got to clearly address our client to get their satisfaction and their trust. Number 5, the society, because you know our business is directly linked to people, to communities, to municipalities, to cities. You eat, you drink, you warm your house with everything that Veolia can propose. So that's this, all these stakeholders we've got to deal with. And so for your information, when we are talking about different stakeholders, when we are focusing only on people, we've got 50% of all the indicators behind our bonuses and objectives that are based on non-financial KPIs.
So do you mean that at Veolia, not only financial or business KPIs are meaningful?
Exactly. For example, we set up a program, we call it What Binds Us. We have defined with people in the team 15 principles, 15 leadership principles that help us to describe how to work together, how to treat people with respect, how to hire people, and to work together in order to act as a global IT community perfectly aligned with the purpose of Veolia.
That's very interesting. So as a CIO, you're not only dealing with technology, but also with culture and human diversity. And could you give me an example of a program that you developed?
Sure. Just this year, we have launched 3 new programs. The first one, we call it Creation Days. Just about provisioning a budget in order to let the people work on a topic that really matter for them, in order to address a new domain that is not already addressed by the businesses, and they really want to work on it. And we've got some ideas coming from all over the world just for being able to focus on one specific topic for a few days, a few weeks, a few months maybe. And we encourage that type of innovation. We've got another project, we call it Solidarity, for joint solidarity and charity action we can propose to the ISNT community. It's about going into a forest on the beach, cleaning them up, or making some efforts for people around Aubervilliers, for example, our HQ, for helping people around that place, all together sharing the same objectives. And number 3, we've got a Live My Life program. It's about taking the time to really feel what Veolia is in the field. Having our colleagues in the field just beside us, or being beside our colleagues in the field, behind the truck, on the plant, or in front of an incinerator, in order to really discover what are the real workers within Veolia. That's very interesting.
Sure, it's very interesting. I like very much this cultural aspect of your job too. And regarding the merge, do you also consider the cultural aspect of the both IT teams?
Absolutely. Because we are very proud about what we are doing and proposing. And culture is key in order to build a very strong and efficient team. Despite our pride regarding what we are currently doing, we've got some strong belief about what we can do, what we should do. We are totally convinced that we've got to enrich our thoughts, our way of dealing with job every day, taking the best from the different experiences coming from the people of Suez. Our future colleagues will come with their own history, their own experiences. And I'm deeply convinced that if we share the same values, the same basic values, for example, commitment, environment, respect, and if we look at the same target in the same direction at the same time, the mindset will be just a conclusion of this story.
Sure. Thank you very much. So now, Didier, what's next for both IT teams? What's on top of mind of both CIOs, both teams?
I think we just want to pursue what has been done since 2012. We want a more modern, a more connected, a more effective system for supporting Veolia ambition. That's it. Everything began in 2012 with the adoption of this very famous Google platform for enhancing collaboration, for being able to address people from anywhere in the world.
So Veolia was, we can say, an early adopter.
I think so. Until that time, Veolia was very, very decentralized. And Antoine Frérot, our president, launched a project, and the name was the One Veolia. It's 8 years after this choice that we all realized how efficient it was. Because, during the pandemic, it was very hard for people working from home, getting rid of these exchanges in the corridors. But we had these solid foundations in order to address our everyday job, just organizing video meetings, having this ability to share documentations, to set up some meetings just in one click. But more than the collaboration platform, we have built some technical components like a data lake, like a move to cloud approach, and so on and so on. And since 2 years, we are working on what we call digital solutions. That means that we are able to provide some solutions in order to support Veolia ambition, in order to help to get more efficiency on our plans, on our activities, and to propose some new services to our clients. Now we've got all this data going onto a data lake, and we are beginning to get the best from AI, for example.
Okay, so AI, we all have a discussion about AI, but in which way the Veolia offers is unique about AI?
Yeah, there are a few particularities. Because when we say AI, we prefer to speak about digital and people. Because it's a balance. We don't believe that robots and AI will replace humans and expertise. We want these functionalities to really leverage what already exists. Since more than 160 years, we've got experts within Veolia providing dealing with waste and producing energy. And what we are trying to do is just to get the best from them and to be able to provide, to share this expertise, this knowledge onto all the employees to get all this data flowing from dozens and dozens and thousands of plants, enriched by our expertise to produce new services to employees and to our clients. You know, ecology can sometimes be perceived as punitive. We are talking about malus systems, creating some new taxes, all this kind of stuff. But in Veolia, we with this mindset of digital and social, we can propose what we call a win-win-win approach. Because all these digital solutions through the upgrade platform can provide some solutions that are good for the planet, good for the customer, and good for Veolia. For example, you know, we've got some services dealing with energy efficiency. And in that case, we can provide some services that help the invoice of the customer to be reduced. We are providing new services and so new activity for Veolia, and it's good for the environment because the footprint is lower compared to the previous system.
Sure. And one question, customers, employees, do you also include your suppliers in this carbon footprint reduction?
Sure, and it's key. We want to work with people sharing the same ideas, the same objectives. And we have been knowing Google and Veolia for a long time. And we know that we are sharing the same mindset regarding climate change, regarding the environment. Google has set its own objective in 2007, I think, regarding the carbon neutral commitment. And now you've got a new commitment for 2030 regarding
to be
carbon-free 24/7, I think. And it's very important for us because, once again, regarding all the stakeholders, the planet is here, and so we've got to provide some solutions based on services that are as best as they can regarding the carbon footprint. And in that case, in addition, Veolia can help Google to reach the target because, okay, we've got energy efficiency for data centers, for example, but we've got also some services in order to deal with electronic waste. That's a topic that's really coming more and more. And we've got some solution regarding water cooling for recycling the water extract for cooling the data centers, for example.
Yeah, sure. And about electronic waste management, I'm really happy that we will having very soon this discussion between our two companies. It's true that there is more and more awareness about climate change, and we still have a lot to do. Would you have at Veolia innovative solutions for fighting climate change?
Veolia has its own purpose. We, as an IS&T community, decided to set up our own purpose in order to really help Veolia to reach its ambition. And behind this purpose, we want to provide a dozen of digital solutions by 2023. We want to act for the environment. That's our baseline. In order to do so, we have worked with a lot of business units within Veolia and with experts at the HQ. And one of the first solutions we have developed during 2020 is called Building Digital Solutions. And that's very interesting because I was talking about a win-win-win approach. To me, that's a perfect example. In that case, for example, in Spain, we are managing all the hospitals regarding the air quality and the warming system. Okay? And we can commit on certain level of temperature and a certain level of invoice. And we have to reduce the consumption of energy but reaching the same temperature that we have agreed on. In that case, so we've got activity for Veolia, we've got a reduction of the invoice for the hospital, and we've got less carbon footprint for the environment. And that's exactly what we want to do. That means that technically we are grabbing all the data coming from dozens of sensors within the hospital. We are using AI capabilities, with data coming from weather forecasts or the orientation of the sun during the day, the number of people entering the hospital, and so on and so on. And so we are able to really provide some efficiency, like a level of 5 to 10 to 15% in some cases.
Wow. So that's exactly tech for good and AI for health. Bravo, Veolia.
Thank you very much.
Didier, merci. Thank you very much for this great conversation. It's been a pleasure to share Veolia's actuality today with you. And let me tell you again, at Google, we are very proud to be part of Veolia's digital transformation.
Thank you very much for this opportunity and for sharing our experience and our actuality. We are very happy to work with Google, and I hope that very soon we will have some changes regarding different kind of markets and business. But once again, thank you for this opportunity and for the whole team behind me.
Merci, thank you very much for attending today and wishing you a happy 2021 Vivatech. Au revoir.